Hello. Have you ever looked someone in the eye and felt deep down that something wasn't quite right? We have all experienced that unsettling moment when instinct tells us we are being deceived. But have you ever stopped to wonder what is actually happening inside the brain of a liar? Why do some people lie to protect feelings while others lie to create an entirely new reality? To understand the psychology of lying, we must first accept a somewhat uncomfortable truth. Lying is not an anomaly. It is a fundamental part of human nature. Studies suggest that most people tell one or two lies a day. These are usually white lies designed to smooth over social interactions or spare someone's feelings. But today we are going to dig deeper. We are going to look at what happens when lying goes beyond social politeness and becomes a psychological necessity. When we talk about the psychology of a liar, we generally categorize them into a few distinct types. Understanding these differences is crucial. First, we have the compulsive liar. For this person, lying is almost an addiction. They don't necessarily lie to gain a massive advantage. They lie because it feels more comfortable than the truth. Often they will lie about small, insignificant details. They might embellish a story about what they had for lunch or pretend they know a movie they have never seen. Psychologically, this behavior often stems from a deep-seated need for approval. They are painting a picture of themselves that they believe is more interesting than the reality. They fear that their true self is simply not enough. If you are finding this analysis of human behavior interesting, consider hitting the like button. It helps the algorithm understand that these deep dive topics are valuable, and it helps us reach more minds curious about psychology. Now, let's move to a more complex category, the pathological liar. While the compulsive liar lies out of habit, the pathological liar lies with a specific goal. This is often linked to personality structures like narcissism or antisocial personality disorder. Here, the psychology is fascinatingly cold. Pathological liars often lack the empathy that usually acts as a brake on dishonesty. They view other people not as individuals to connect with, but as objects to be manipulated. For these individuals, the truth is malleable. If the facts don't fit their narrative, they simply change the facts. The most dangerous part, they often believe their own lies. This is a defense mechanism known as self-deception. By believing the lie, they eliminate the guilt and anxiety that usually comes with deception. This makes them incredibly convincing because they aren't displaying the typical signs of stress that we usually look for. Speaking of stress, let's look at the biology of a lie. Telling the truth is easy for the brain. It is simply recalling a memory. Lying, however, is cognitive heavy lifting. The brain has to suppress the truth, construct a false scenario, and maintain consistency with previous lies. It is exhausting. This is why when people are lying, you might notice they take longer to answer simple questions, or they might over-explain things. They are buying time for their brain to construct the fabrication. However, there is another side to this. Some liars experience what psychologist Paul Ekman calls duping delight. This is a thrill, a rush of dopamine that comes from the challenge of fooling someone. Instead of feeling guilt, they feel a sense of power and superiority. If you think this information is worth sharing, feel free to pass this video along to a friend or share it on your social media. It is a small gesture, but it helps spread educational content to those who might need it. So, how do we deal with this? Understanding the psychology behind lying helps us to take it less personally. When we realize that a compulsive liar is often driven by insecurity, or that a pathological liar is driven by a lack of empathy, we can detach ourselves from the situation. We stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And start understanding, why are they doing this to themselves? we must also be aware of the truth bias. As humans, we are evolutionarily hardwired to believe others because trust is essential for survival. Liars exploit this biological vulnerability, but by being aware of these psychological patterns, we can protect ourselves without becoming cynical. We can learn to observe rather than just listen. To conclude, the mind of a liar is a labyrinth of defense mechanisms, insecurities, and sometimes a different wiring of empathy. It is rarely black and white. It is a spectrum of gray that reveals just how complex the human condition really is. I hope this video has given you a clearer lens through which to view human behavior. If you feel you understand the psychology of the mind a little better today, please consider subscribing to the channel. It supports the creation of more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep observing the world around you.